It is the holiday season, and today on the episode, we are talking our top 5 free agents or trade candidates we want to see the Cubs go after. Will they? Well, probably not. That's a different story. But let's get into it on Son of Man Podcast right now. Welcome, everyone, to the Christmas edition of the Setup Man Podcast. I am Alex Brawl alongside Ty Lewin, and returning from Hawaii with sun-kissed skin so hot he'll melt your popsicle like Katy Perry, it's the Podfather, Kyle Stanley. Welcome back.
I've never been mentioned in the same sentence as Katy Perry. That's
new. One of her lyrics.
I've never been more uncomfortable on a podcast.
I was wondering if I was going to hear from HR after that. But this is a Man Podcast. If you like that little ditty, hit that like button, comment below. Let me know if I need to go to sexual harassment training. Like, comment, subscribe, audio only. Do us a favor.
We need to start this episode over. Holy cow.
Nope, we're leaving it all in. It's the holidays. Like,
and you're the sober one.
I am. Straight up water. Audio only. Do us a favor. 5-star review. Subscribe, follow, wherever you get your podcasts. And like I said on today's show, we are going over our Christmas wish list for the Cubs. I'm going to hit Kyle with the Setup Man survey at the very end of the episode. And we're going to start with the Cubs making yet another bullpen addition. They have agreed to a 1-year deal with a 2027 club option with reliever, right-handed pitcher Jacob Webb. The deal with the 32-year-old includes a $1.5 million base salary for 26, and an option for 27 is worth $2.5 million. So pretty cheap deal, all things considered. Now, do you know who this person is? Because I sure didn't. But after some research, let me tell you. In 2025, pitched with the Texas Rangers, a 3.00 ERA in 55 games, 66 innings pitched, and 58 strikeouts. His pitch mix includes a fastball, changeup, slider. He struck out 21% of the batters he faced, only walking 9. And I got to tell you, Baseball Savant really likes his stuff. A lot of red on his page. Does not give up a lot of hard contact. 95th percentile in average exit velocity against. Throughout his career, more of a fly ball pitcher. So that plays at beautiful historic Wrigley Field. 10th percentile in ground ball percentage. So a middle reliever type. But Kyle, since it's been a while, let's get your thoughts first.
Well, yeah, and when you look at Baseball Savant, it's kind of the prototypical Jed Cubs get in a 33 percentile fastball velocity. Average fastball is 93.4, and he's below average for strikeouts. Does get a lot of chase, so that's probably where the weak contact comes from. But heck, I mean, at the end of the day, to me, like you look at the numbers, and his career ERA in 6 seasons is 2.99, and that spans over 247 games. Don't know why I didn't know this name. Pretty legit. Last 2 seasons, right around that 3 ERA. That's good. I'll take that any day.
Yeah, I across the board for the 4 additions that they've made to the bullpen with Maton, Milner, obviously Webb, and then I'm blanking on the 4th one. Thielbar, thank you. Is across their Baseball Savant pages, there's 2 things that seem pretty standard across all of them. Is low velo, is like you mentioned, Kyle, and the hard hit percentage is very low as well, which again, there's a lot of things that come into play here when you're talking about each of these pitchers and what their pitch framing is and pitch types and all these other things. But at the end of the day, we want to get outs. We want to get, obviously less hard contact equals a better chance of our defense being able to make plays. So overall, I've been very pleased with the additions thus far. Obviously, the dollar amounts and the names attached to them aren't, jumping off the Twitter pages for fans to see. But us all 3 have mentioned this in the past, that when it comes to the Cubs bullpen, it's something where at this point, they seem to have a formula. They like their formula. They're sticking with it. And I do not see them diverting away from the way that they've done things with the pen. Now, other parts of their team are definitely a question mark, but with the bullpen, it's always felt like we have a lot of trust with what Jed and the team is doing out there.
Yeah, Ty, you and I had mentioned that on the last show. At this point, whoever they sign for the bullpen, okay. I just trust them blindly at this point. And the other thing, too, financially, so they've added Webb, Phil Maton, they brought back Caleb Thielbar, added Holby Milner. That's roughly $17 million against the tax. So you added 4 really quality pitchers for not that much money. And we all know how important that is in these very dire times for the Chicago Cubs. But it's just, I like that they are adding nice pieces. I still want a dominant closer, but Kyle, I don't know that a closer is really on their wish list at this point.
Well, I mean, listen to what you just said there too. Like we just got 4 legitimate relievers that will be responsible for 12 outs per game, basically, for $1 million less than what it's going to cost for the Mets to pay Devin Williams for the next 3 years at $17 million per year. Like that, I heard Foul Territory talk about the other day, where it's like the age-old question of, do you spend $10 million on a bona fide reliever, or do you take the Jed approach and give it to 8 to 10 minor league invites and hope that 2 of those 10 hit? And I think because that's worked, I would rather that happen. And especially with Tyler Zombro having the connections that he has and the knowledge that he has, I think that you're going to see another, I use quotation marks, Brad Keller type. I don't know that we can ever duplicate a Brad Keller, but I think you're going to see diamonds in the rough that you've never heard of that come in and do this thing for the Cubs because they just know how to look for that. So, and then David Kaplan and Gore Whitmire, I know you're a big fan of Cap, Alex. They said the Cubs should have matched Devin Williams' contract. They can't keep on taking this route of trying to get minor league guys to be dominant. And I just disagree. Like they have figured it out. So it's the last thing that I'm worried about. The only issue with this approach is April, because you don't know where those pieces fall. And that's where you get a lot of like Daniel Palencia was successful in the closer role last year, but you try to put him in the closer role right away in April, he might have an Adbert Alzolay situation again, like Adbert did in 2024. And you blow 4 saves in April. And then you figure out, oh, wait, actually our closer is this guy Webb who doesn't even strike out anyone, right? Like that's the only issue with the approach.
And Ty, I want to ask you too, and Kyle, I agree with a lot of what you're saying there, but I do want to ask Ty, a lot of these guys, while they're solid ads, there's not a lot of velocity in the pen outside of Palencia. Is that an issue for you headed into 26?
No, not necessarily, because you look at a guy like Phil Maton, he had more strikeouts than Brand Keller last year in less innings. So the other thing too is that if you watched a lot of the Cubs games this year, which of course we all did, and many of the Cub fans that listen, velo was really not in the cards unless you were Daniel Palencia or Brad Keller. So the other guys were outgetters. And when it comes to being an outgetter, it's about executing pitches, whether that's with your off speed, or with your pitch shape when it comes to your fastball. And that's what Zombro and these guys have mastered. And so if we're talking about velo, the thing with velo is that velo has to work at the top of the zone. And if you don't have an arm in the big leagues that works the top of the zone and can execute on the corners, velo doesn't matter worth a damn. So I think that the Cubs are realizing that you have to get sort of lucky when it comes to, not lucky, it kind of does when it comes to guys that you have in your organization right now that come with velo, is guys like Daniel Palencia that somehow figure it out, right? Versus going after a big time reliever that has velo is going to cost you 20 plus million. And so it's like, well, is that worth it if that guy goes down, rather than, like Kyle said, and get 4 legitimate arms at $17 million that, yeah, they may not have that velo that sparks the screen and makes it go yellow and red, but all that matters is 1 going next to the out, or 2, or the inning is over. So that's what I care about.
The name that I don't know why I've been thinking a lot about lately, and Kyle, you actually talked to him last offseason, is Porter Hodge. I don't want to write him off yet. And I do wonder if he's going to be one of their guys, quote unquote, velo guys, for lack of a better term. But we've seen him close games. He has experience doing that. Had a really bad 25, but was dominant in 24. So Kyle, I guess I just want to get your opinion as someone who's talked to him before. How do you think Porter Hodge translates in 26 to this current Cubs pen?
I would also take it one step further and say Ben Brown is in that category.
Are we sure he's going to be a reliever?
I think you have to, at this point, look at Ben Brown as wherever he's going to be valuable. I don't think it's in the cards to just pigeonhole him as either a starter or a reliever. But yeah, I mean, one thing that I loved about when I talked to Porter Hodge was like, he was basically put into a role. If you remember, he was coming from AA where he had like a 4.8 ERA and was walking a bunch of guys. And it wasn't until he actually saw his fastball from a back angle camera. If you remember that 10-pitch, 3 strikeout debut against the Braves, that was the first time he'd ever seen his fastball from that angle. And he was like, oh, my fastball moves. And that plus talking to Hotovy and just saying like, hey, just like literally throw it down the middle or throw strikes. Your stuff is going to carry you. I think was a big click for him. In 25, it was injuries. I really don't think you can say anything else except for injuries led to lower velo, which led to less sharp of a breaking ball. And on the Ben Brown side, I think, there's a lot of carryover from the neck injury that he had in 2024. And I would be interested to see if both those guys end up being players for the team. And that's internal. And I'm excited to get Tyler Zombro on again this offseason, because those are the kind of questions that I really have for him is like, who's that guy that had it down 2025 that you would expect to be the front line guy to bounce back in 26? And I would be surprised if he didn't mention Ben Brown or Porter Hodge in that conversation.
I think they almost have to bank on those two guys. But Ty, what are your thoughts on Porter Hodge? Is there a dark horse for someone we're not even thinking about? You're like, oh, this kid's going to be kind of awesome and important for them in 26.
I think you're playing a little bit of house money with Porter Hodge. I think you have a solid foundation. I wrote it down because I was like, okay, so you have your 4 solid relievers that if you look at last year, you're kind of looking at Pomeranz, Thielbar, Brad Keller as sort of that bunch of like solid relievers that can go out there and do the job. You kind of have now, if you want to say solidified that, maybe needs a little bit more thump on out of the pen if you want a little bit more velo, but I just said that you don't necessarily need that. So then you're looking at guys like Ben Brown and Porter Hodge, and you're saying, man, if we figure it out, this is fantastic. This is a great addition. This alleviates a lot of the stress on the pen. But Porter Hodge should not be relied upon to be the 8th inning guy this year. Like, he should, out of the gates, this guy, take your time with him. Obviously, there's something that happened where the buildup or whatever you want to call it, like, really impacted him last year. The mental side of it really got to him. Like, the year before, we said this guy's nails. Like, he couldn't have been more confident on the mound. And we all know it. Like, bullpen guys are very volatile. And so this type of player, like, I just don't want the pressure put on him to be something that last year just wasn't a possibility whatsoever. Like, he should be somebody that they look at and say, this is a special pitcher, this is a special arm. He's a guy that easily could be an 8th inning guy for us this year, but let's not start him out that way. Let's slowly build it in. So you let guys like Maton and some of these other names that you've brought in be able to provide those outs for the time being.
That's a great point. I could not agree more. Hodges house money. If he pans out, awesome. Now you have another guy that can potentially close, can be a setup guy. I feel like that. We need a button for anytime someone says setup man. Like, he said it. But no, he can be that back into the bullpen kind of guy. He can be a 5th, 6th inning guy. We saw them use Palencia in the playoffs in the 5th, 6th inning and how valuable that was. I do worry a little bit about the velocity. You look at all the great bullpens across the league. Hell, just look up north, what Milwaukee has. I don't think they have a guy that throws under 95 miles an hour in that bullpen. And I do think also the velocity gives you a bigger margin of error. If you're only throwing 90, and let's face it, their starters only throw 90 to 93 at this point. It's just a lot of the same looks velocity-wise from all of your pitchers. So that part does scare me a little bit, but also we're talking about veterans that have gotten it done throughout their career. So I guess we wait and see. I assume they're going to continue to add. But speaking of adding, Cubs also, before we get into our wish list, I didn't even have this on the outline, but how could I forget? The Cubs have brought back legend Christian Bethancourt. Probably will be in AAA as their emergency catcher. But we should not just ignore the hero of some game in Pittsburgh 2 years ago where he had 7 RBIs. It was just insane. But yeah, Cubs bring back old friend Christian Bethancourt. Cool, good, all right. Just something to mention. We don't have to spend a lot of time on. He's depth, whatever. Okay. Today on the show, we are exchanging our Christmas list. It is the holiday season. We are recording on December 23rd. Shout out to Grandma Casper. It is her birthday. Happy birthday to Grandma. And tomorrow's Christmas Eve. So by the time you hear this, it will be Christmas Eve. So what do we want to see the Cubs do other than just something because they haven't done much of anything at this point? So we each have a top 5 list. We're going to go back and forth, starting from 5 all the way to 1. And I just want to preface, if one of us has a player at, let's say, 5 and the other person has it at 3, we're going to wait to talk about that player until we get to them higher on the list, if that makes sense. So, Kyle, this is your show back. I give you the honors of going first. Ty, you can go second. I will follow it up. But, Kyle, your number 5 Cub or target you want to see the Cubs acquire this offseason is?
Alex Bregman.
Number 5, really?
Number
okay,
5.
I have him a lot higher.
Yeah,
Ty,
well, you'll see why I got a little creative with my tops, but
that's right. You told us
yeah,
off air.
yeah.
But
no, Bregman, just because I think the lower on the list because I think starting pitching is more important, and if they didn't get Bregman, I still am really high on Matt Shaw, and if they get Bregman, then Matt Shaw is either moving to second because Nico Horner is traded, and I don't think any of us want that, or Matt Shaw's on the bench or being traded, and I am not super excited about that either. So I have internal conflict on the Alex Bregman thing, but I know it makes the Cubs better. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I'll give my opinions when I get to him. I have him much higher. Ty, do you have Bregman higher as well?
I have him right around it. I had him at 4. But let me ask you this, guys, just because I know we've debriefed a lot on this list that we created. Is this a list that also too, just so we're in the same boat here? Is it names the Cubs are directly tied to?
No.
Okay.
No, I played the game of guys I'd like to see them sign.
Okay. Can I start off with a bang?
Sure. Number 5 for Ty is.
Okay. So this third base situation has become a little bit of a, I would say it's an unfortunate situation right now because of the hype that Matt Shaw had and the issues now that we're having with signing guys. And is Matt Shaw the guy for the future? We wanted Juanio Suarez at one point. And there's a team sitting out there right now that has not created really a lot of buzz. And they are an organization that deals with staying a little bit in the smaller pond. And I'm just wanted to throw this out here. Would a trade for, and it would require a whole lot, is Jose Ramirez off the cards for you guys entirely?
Bang!
Why would that ever be off the cards?
So
bring him in.
I just think that if I'm thinking about wish list, right? If I want something for myself that I know I can use for years to come, the thought right now is that people have concerns over Bregman and the injuries and those sorts of things, right? We have issues right now with where can Shaw go? Jose Ramirez is possibly one of the greatest third basemen that I've been able to watch personally growing up. And he's such an underrated player. Is that something that I would love to see the Cubs do? Would it require a lot? Yes, and I think it's because of not only the fact that he's very, very talented, but that the Guardians really don't have a whole lot behind him. So they would require a whole lot of prospects and a whole lot of prospect capital, as I like to call it. But I don't know. Just thought I'd throw it out there for number 5 being a little bit more on the fun side.
It's fun. I don't think it's even plausible, but it's fun.
I know.
I agree. But
it's a wish list. I was sitting there and I was like, all right, should I be a kid or should I be trying to be a podcast?
Never mind. My number 5 is Aramis Ramirez.
Bring him back.
This is awesome. Go ahead, Alex.
I will say, just for shits and giggles, I did look it up. He's 33 years old. So, and he's under contract, it looks like, for 3 more years at 21, 23, and $25 million.
Nothing.
I know he took when he signed his big contract with Cleveland, he took a bit of a discount, but still, man, 21, 23, and 25, that's a Jed deal if I've ever seen it. Now, again, Cleveland's not moving him, but it's
It'd be
fun
a
to
shame
think
if
about.
Jed was working under the dark side of the table with that one, but yeah.
Wouldn't we be surprised if on New Year's Eve we have to drop all of our plans into an emergency episode because they just traded for Jose Ramirez? I don't know that my girlfriend would be very happy, but I would be.
Really, side note too, that would be the only move that would be made, right?
Oh,
That'd be the only move. This would be a Kyle Tucker sort of situation. It would be, we're doing this again, and that's it. So their
farm system for sure.
It does come with that. Sia Moises, Sia Jackson, like that's going to be
probably Sia Cade.
Probably. So you think Sia Cade? So you think Wiggins,
it's going to be everything in the cover.
And Moises?
I think if we spend this much time on each player, we're going to be going for 2 hours. That's what I think.
Don't worry.
That's your guys' problem. I don't know about me, but I'm having a great time with
my
this.
number 5, not that sexy. I'll give you my number 5 right now. Starting pitcher / swingman, Nick Martinez, formerly of the Cincinnati Reds.
Okay.
Swingman type. Now, you could make the argument they have Nick Martinez at home, and his name is Colin Ray. Fair argument. But he was pretty awesome in 24 with a 3.10 ERA.
Yeah.
He's durable. He's pitched at least 100 innings in every season as a swingman outside of one season in his big league career. But he doesn't rack up a lot of Ks. And if you're looking for velocity, you're not going to find it here. 92, 93 miles an hour. But he's a reliable out-getter, as Craig Counsell would like to say. Contract-wise, if you look through the lens of the front office, kind of fits that mold. He's 35 years old. He's not going to command a lot of years. I can't imagine he's going to make a ton of money after last season. Last season, a bit worse than it has been. 11-14, a 4.45 ERA in 26 starts. So, again, not a sexy name, but a name I can see them going after. And honestly, I don't even know if that would get me excited. We're not doing an emergency episode about that, but he kind of fits the mold of what they're looking for.
Yeah, my only concern on him is he's going into age 35 season, and he had a bad year at age 34 season. That's typically when you start getting worried about starting pitching. But, I mean, you're right. He'd be cheap.
Yeah, which, honestly, when I was making this isn't even my wish list. This is like, do I think the Cubs will do that because for some reason we don't have any money?
So you didn't have fun with your list.
No, but I went right down the middle.
All right, we're not asking Alex for his number 1 through 4 now.
Yeah, no.
4.5. Here we
mine's
go.
pretty vanilla. Kyle, who do you got at 4?
Might be surprising you guys. Kyle Tucker.
Bang!
I don't think his market is what he thought it would be. And I'll just remind you of one name whose market wasn't what he thought it would be. Mr. Cody Bellinger. What happened to him? Came back to the Cubs. Can't remember who I was watching. I think it was David Kaplan. Someone had asked, like, would you do 5 years, $200 million with some player opt-outs? That feels expensive. I think if you can get Kyle Tucker to do like an Alex Bregman deal of 120, 3-year player opt-out after year 1, I think you do that all day long. This team needs another bat, and there's just such major question marks in right field right now. Is it Owen Casey? Is it Seiya Suzuki? If you bring in Kyle Tucker, it's very clear. Kyle Tucker's right fielder. Seiya Suzuki is your DH. Go get a starting pitcher in a trade with Owen Casey.
Are we sure the Cubs love the Kyle Tucker experience?
No, they didn't. But that's okay. But throw that out, because we all know, like we've talked about that till it's blue in the face. The fans weren't huge on Kyle Tucker. Kyle Tucker in a nutshell, playing through injuries was not a good thing, but it's true. Kyle Tucker, this team is way better with Kyle Tucker in the lineup. Like, you can't deny that. at the end of the season, we were disappointed with the season. He still had the second highest or maybe the highest OPS on the team.
No more questions, Your Honor. I don't hate it.
Yeah.
I just don't know if the front office, if they didn't love the experience and they're going to have to pay that high up, I just don't see them being like, oh, yay, Kyle Tucker's back. It's going to be more like, okay, he's out there, I guess.
That's how we felt when Cody Bellinger re-signed too. Like the fans were really excited about it, but I don't think the front office was very excited about 3 years at $90 million for Cody Bellinger.
That's fair. I was about to ask the question, who would you rather have back, Bellinger or Tucker? But I don't know.
Tucker.
Oh, yeah, it's not even close. So the thing with Tucker is that those player opt-outs would be such a motivator for him to try to get another contract.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think, one of the things that Boris is probably running into right now, which is a little shocking as to how much he got for Cease, is obviously, like we talked about before, is the CBA and the idea behind what these organizations will look like from a salary structure moving forward. And so this gives the Cubs the opportunity to have potentially one of those years a top 10 hitter in baseball on a deal that could look very affordable in their eyes. And then the beauty of that is that if he does have that year, he uses that player opt out and gets a bigger contract. Otherwise, you solidify that right field need for the next 4 to 5 years, and you're not even asking the question. It's like the thing I just mentioned earlier, jokingly saying that they would go after Jose Ramirez, but it is that idea of you have now solidified a position you don't have to worry about, and you're not playing this like in the deep end of like, is Seiya going to do what we need him to do in right field and produce at the plate? Or are we going to rely on a rookie to have a dominant year? I've been one who's been supportive of allowing Casey and Seiya to do their thing, but the more and more I think about it, it's getting more difficult to feel confident with this, especially with the way the team is structured here going into 2026.
Yeah, I mean, how good has Seiya been when he's needed to be a guy or the guy? When first half of 2025, Kyle Tucker was the guy, Seiya was able to relax and have the best half of season of baseball of his life. Sorry, Alex, you were going to say something.
I mean, you kind of took it right out of my mouth.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Gosh, I'm sorry.
Seiya is more of Robin than Batman, but I think we also learned that Kyle Tucker is more Robin than Batman as well. So they need a bat. I'm not sure.
They need a Batman. They
do need Batman, but I think
I'm so sorry.
All right, who's your number 4 guy?
I'm so sorry. I said earlier go ahead. It's your show.
Jesus, you guys are cutting me. No, I'm just saying, who relies on young players to propel them to 90+ win seasons? The team up north. I rest my case. Ty, you're number 4.
I did have Bregman, which I mentioned earlier. I did have Bregman at number 4.
Oh, that's right. I have him higher.
I do want to say something about Bregman that's a little interesting, though. And I know, so one of the things that I was looking at today with Bregman versus Shaw is that second half for Shaw was better than Bregman's. Does that at all concern you guys if the Cubs do go ahead and get Bregman and let's say they decide whatever they want to do with Shaw? Like, you are looking at that overall landscape of like, look how good Bregman was comparatively to Shaw in the first half. But we could all agree that Shaw was a completely different player in the second half. Like if that's what he's going to look like next year, and he's going to have better numbers than Bregman didn't have in the second half. Does that at all concern you guys? I have him on the wish list just because this kind of goes into this is going to solidify things for us at third base, but just curious your guys' thoughts.
My initial gut without looking at the numbers is that I believe Matt Shaw just had a really good month of August. I don't know that he was a completely different player for the entire second half. I think he kind of reverted back to September, first half Matt Shaw in September. That's my gut. I would need to back that up with numbers. Alex Bregman. You're right.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Alex Bregman, before his injury, May 23rd, slash line 299, 385, 553 for an OPS over 900. Ended the season OPS 100 points lower. You don't know what that injury did to his vibes, his body, anything like that. But that's 2 back-to-back down seasons for Bregman. So yeah, I mean, I do get concerned. People have also shared their concern about his fly ball rate to left field and being another Isaac Paredes for the Cubs. That's concerning. But I don't know. Same reason that we convinced ourselves of, Dansby Swanson. He's a winner. And you asked me that question in 2019. I'm going to give you a different answer. 2020, whatever it was, I'm going to give you a different answer of why he's a winner. But now that the dust is settled and all that, the Astros, the Red Sox, wherever he's gone, have been winners.
Actually, you know what? No, I have him higher on my list, but let me just, since we're on the topic, I'll just give my opinions now. I do think he's a great clubhouse guy. I think he's a really solid two-way player. And at this point, he's just more proven than Matt Shaw. That, for me, that's the biggest thing and why he would make sense. But I also believe that this could also be a product of just this free agent class. I think they don't want to shell out the money for Bo Bichette. At this point, I think Bo Bichette is more of a safer bet, especially offensively. But fine, you don't want to spend the money, whatever. At this point, it just is what it is. I just don't know. My biggest concern with Bregman is he a real ceiling raiser for this team? I feel like if you do this deal last year when he wanted to be with you and Matt Shaw was still in the minor leagues, or at that time, was the opening day third baseman, but last year would have been the year to do it. I kind of wonder if they missed the boat on this. So while I do have him higher on my list, I think also it's just a product of this free agent class. I don't know if he's a ceiling raiser, and I kind of wonder if they missed their window to sign him where it makes sense. Now, you seem to be leaning in direction of the young guys, but yet we hear all these connected rumors with Bregman. It almost doesn't make sense what they're saying and what they're reportedly, albeit, doing behind the scenes. It's all very confusing to me. And as for Bregman himself, the player, sure, he makes the team better. How much? I don't know. And for the price he's going to cost, I don't know that I would do it. But if they do sign him, I'm not going to be upset about it by any means. It's a sexy name for a not sexy product, if that makes sense.
You're basically saying you think that their floor becomes higher, but the ceiling doesn't change a lot, is what you're thinking.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows if Matt Shaw takes off and instead of 1 good month, he has 4 good months? Mm-hmm. Well, that totally changes everything. And I think at this point in time, Shaw has a higher ceiling. Younger, more athletic, played a hell of a defensive third base. The ceiling is higher if Shaw hits his potential. But we don't know what their plan is. If they're really trying to compete and win, then you probably trade for a pitcher and sign Bregman. But I don't know if they have the appetite to do that.
Yeah. Who's your boring number 4?
My boring number 4 is a total Cubs move, a reclamation project, if you will. I pitched this to Blake Cowell when he joined my show, and now he's been saying it on Wrigleyville forever. I'm taking credit for that. That would be Michael Kopech, formerly of the White Sox and Dodgers. Only played in 14 games this last season due to injury. However, he was a key piece in the Dodger bullpen in 2024 when they won the World Series the first time. And upper 90s fastball, something that we talked about earlier in the show, the Cubs pen doesn't have a ton of. And we've seen the Cubs consistently hit on these reclamation projects. So, hey, 1 year, call it $5 million. You can come, build your value back up, hit the market again. We've seen them hit on these players so often. And for a guy with his stuff, a former top prospect, to me, makes all the sense in the world. I would love if they brought in Michael Kopech.
I hate it less than Nick Martinez.
Well, that's good. Making progress.
If you get him for 1 year, $4 or $5 million, I actually like it a lot.
Yeah, I don't know what his market is going to be. I doubt he gets anything 10 million plus.
Yeah.
But for the stuff, for the reputation, he would be if he hits, that's a really valuable piece in your pen. Now, if he doesn't, you probably DFA him in June.
It's a part of that group of Ben Brown and Porter Hodge. And it's not to say that Michael Kopech, because Michael Kopech's ceiling is ridiculous. I mean, let's be honest. Like, it would be an absolutely electric arm in the pen. We saw it with the Dodgers and what it looked like when he was with the White Sox. It was a little bit of a roller coaster. But again, it's volatile. And what I've noticed with the Cubs when it comes to specifically Craig Counsell, volatility is not what he's looking for. He's looking for consistency. And so an arm like that is somebody where, you know, does he give the reins to him like he did a Palencia? I just don't see it. But it's definitely a fun name. I do not mind the name. I would. That's not. Let's just say this: if they sign him, I wouldn't be angry about it. That would not be a bad sign because I know it's not going to be anything near. It won't be anything north of 4 or 5. I'd be shocked.
No, this is a total. Hey, this guy's got thunder in his arm. Let's see if we can build him back up, and then he can go make Devin Williams money next year. And who knows? Maybe they use him in the 5th, 6th inning in April, and all of a sudden, it's like, oh, hey, there's something here. Kind of like what they did with Brad Keller, like 6th, 7th inning. It's like, oh, okay. And who knows? That's, again, reclamation project, not sexy. Kyle, your number 3 is?
Spoiler alert, none of my top 3 are Joe Ryan, Mackenzie Gore, or Edward Cabrera. And this is where I start to get into my trades. Because I don't want to get rid of Jackson Wiggins, and I think that those teams will be asking for Jackson Wiggins. So that's the spoiler alert. Now, the trades that I do see happening without Jackson Wiggins are going to be a couple of my next ones. Number 3, Chris Bubik.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. Big proponent of this trade, our friend Lance Brzezowski. Things I like about Chris Bubik. His estimated final year of arbitration, according to Spotrac, is only $4.5 million. So he's cheap. He's only 28 years old. This last year he had a 2.55 ERA and I believe it was 116 innings. Now the downside is that he's never pitched more than 130 innings, and he's also never had an ERA under 4 with at least 120 innings pitched. So that's another thing, is he had a couple years there of 120, 130 on innings pitched, but they were earlier in his career and his ERA was in the 4 and 5s. So this was really his first legitimate year. So for that reason, I think it's kind of a, you could say, risk that the Cubs would trade for him because he just has had one good year. But I also think that that's kind of some bargaining negotiation bait for them to be able to say, hey, you don't get Moises Ballesteros, you don't get Jackson Wiggins, you don't get any of our top 3 prospects because we don't really know what we're getting out of this Bubik guy. He really only had 100 good innings this last year, and the rest of his career has been not so great. So it's unique, it's different, but I do think that under the tutelage of Zombro and Hotovy that he would thrive.
I like that. Ty?
It's with the injury concerns at the end of the year, or the injury he had at the end of the year, is something that of course they will monitor and see. But I think we all last year were definitely very interested in Bubic and really wanting to see him in a Cubs uniform.
Is that how you say his name? I said Bubik. I thought it was Bubik.
I'm gonna say Bubic. It's kind of like Luan and Lewin. It's definitely something that a lot of people talk about. A lot of people talk about on a day-to-day basis. Comment below if you think the same thing. I look, he's a very, very nice arm, and he was a wonderful story last year. And I think that, and this goes back to your point, Kyle, when you're talking about not having to trade away Jackson Wiggins, you're looking at an arm that doesn't require something ridiculous in return. And that is the key here, guys, is because we can all agree that there are a few names in this organization right now that we want to see for the future. And it's Cade Horton, like we've already seen, Jackson Wiggins, and then I think we can all agree that we'd love to see Moises Ballesteros, see what he can do at the major league level. And beyond that, it's sort of like, we'll see what happens. So those names would not require a Chris Bubic. And what I saw last year, this dude can throw. And I think that's a very fine move.
Ty, you're number 3.
This is a fun one. So if you guys have seen this offseason, the Tampa Bay Rays have made quite a few moves. I'm also someone who just, I get so tired of hearing the same names connected. And then all of a sudden next week, it's like a girl in high school that you're trying to ask to date, and she just does not get you an answer. And you find out she's talking to this guy and this guy. That's not the case here. I'm looking at people
personal experience.
Not going to talk about it, but what I'm looking at is I'm looking for guys that people have not talked to. Okay. The Rays have made a
Christopher
lot
Morel.
of moves. No, he's not a Ray actually at this point. He's a free
Chris
agent.
Archer.
Drew Rasmussen.
Ooh,
Oh,
wow.
okay. I dig
So
it.
Drew Rasmussen signed a 2-year contract in January of 2025, 2 years, $8.5 million extension. So Drew Rasmussen, for folks that don't know, has been sort of a injury project. So this would be kind of in the lines of a couple people we've discussed thus far, but it's an electric arm and it's some high velo and it's some legit stuff. And he's a Tampa Bay Ray, which I think comes with a huge positive. The beautiful part about it is that I think he's on like a mutual option for 27. So the whole CBA thing, throw it out of the cards. It's a name that easily bolsters this rotation. And now, would this name require a big time prospect is the question, because if you look at the way that they valued Shane Baz, that was a haul. Now, do you see Drew Rasmussen as a guy that you can extend? I don't know. But again, you're not necessarily, it doesn't require a massive name is the question. And I wonder if they made the call about him. He's just legit, guys. Like he's just legit. And it's a name that I've seen for a long time. And I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on something like that? Where let's kind of throw it into this question of like guys that would require just one more year of a deal that aren't like the top tier of the arms, like we're talking about like a Scooble or anybody like that. But these guys that are 1 year guys where it's like, this is legit. Like this will bolster the bullpen. Like, would you be willing to move? Maybe you're not talking maybe Jackson Wiggins, but maybe a Ballesteros.
Yeah, I mean, I'll take 150 innings pitch in 31 games and a 2.76 ERA.
But you only did that
I know
once. That's the only thing is I'm looking at his Baseball Reference.
Injuries.
There's a lot of low innings in there.
Injuries for sure.
Yeah. Well, and I don't remember what the Rays got for Glass now, but this kind of reminds me of like a Glass now situation where they're probably still going to value him really high.
Yeah. And so, I thought this is a risky move. This is in the middle of my wish list rather than the top of it because this is a risky move.
Yeah. I like it. I just think that they're going to ask for a lot.
Okay. I agree with that. And also trading with the Rays is a dangerous game, especially it might be the most dangerous of games because they always seem to know more than everybody else on everything. So much like if the Astros give up on a pitcher, if the Rays are giving up on a pitcher, we want to do that? Remember when the Pirates traded for Chris Archer? That did not go well. Yeah. So yes.
Which was Tyler Glasnow, right? Which was Glasnow?
It was.
Chris Archer deal? Yeah.
Yeah. So it makes me nervous because after seeing what they got for Shane Baz and Rasmussen is better than Baz.
The only thing with Baz is that you get 3 years of control.
Yeah.
Rasmussen is at least 1 year. So maybe there is a little bit of a lesser need there. That's why I think Rasmussen would be more of a guy that would get traded at the deadline because you'd have to prove that he's able to withstand the first half of the season.
Yeah. That's a good point.
But I would love a call to that. That dude is legit, man. That's a name that a lot of people, unfortunately, with them being in Tampa Bay, it's just a name that a lot of people don't know about. This dude is, look up some videos, folks. He's legit.
My number 3, again, right down the middle, not sexy at all, but we got to talk about him. That would be the milkman, Zach Gallen. I just have this gut feeling this is who they're ending up with this offseason. The Amai stuff isn't super hot, but it's not real cold. But David Kaplan on his show this morning, I clipped it and put it on my Twitter. You can follow me at AJ Brault and look it up. He basically was like, yeah, they like Amai. They don't love Amai, which is what I also heard on Northside Territory. So I don't think they're really super deep in the weeds on Amai unless it comes into a Shota thing where it's like, oh, he's still there. Want to come play for us for a couple years? Sure. Okay, great. Which I don't think is going to be the case with Amai. But Zach Gallen, low years, probably. Lower AAV, probably. We're talking 3 years for, let's call it $60 to $70 million total. He's been durable. This is the plus. Is he's been durable. He's made 30-plus starts in 3 of the last 4 seasons. Fly ball pitcher, Wrigley Field, obviously. It's been well documented. Plays well to fly ball pitchers. The only thing I can't get over is his numbers seem to be declining. This is the big thing with me. He's now turning 30. His ERA has slowly gotten bigger each year. His strikeout numbers are kind of declining. It's just, while he has an amazing nickname in the Milkman, I just don't know if that's enough for me to be like, yeah, the Milkman's on the mound today. There's a lot of peripheral stuff that makes me nervous with him. Now, if they sign him, I will talk myself into him. Don't get me wrong. And he might be great. And at this point, Zombro's got so much say in the pitching department. If they do bring in Zach Gallen, he obviously sees something. That's how much trust I have in Tyler Zombro. Overall, not a sexy move. Free agent wise, I think pitching, when it comes to starting pitchers, it's Amai, who I have higher on my list, and Gallen. And I think for money, cost, everything else, it's going to be Gallen. And we'll just have to find ways to kind of accept that. I keep going back and forth, but what do you guys think on Zach Gallen?
Well, here's the good thing about Gallen. Let's start with a positive. In 2022, his from a baseball savant standpoint, the most read that you'll see in his career, his fastball velo was 94. In 2025, the fastball velo was 93.5. So he has consistently stayed, from a velo standpoint, consistent. And that's always the biggest thing you worry about as a pitcher is like, hey, are they losing velo and they're just not as great at pitching as they were at throwing? So one bad year from Gallen. Was it even that bad of a year? Yeah, it was pretty bad. 4.83 ERA. That report about the Cubs having a multi-year deal with him at $22 million, I was like, no, if we're spending $20 million plus on this guy after having just a terrible season, I think that's a bad call. So, I mean, if you can get Gallen at, 2 years, 3 years, 15 per year, I think it's a good move. But again, like, we've already got 4 guys on this team that have enough question marks around them. Shota, can he be 2024 Shota? Matthew Boyd, can he repeat what he did last year? Cade Horton is only going into his first full year as a Major League Baseball player. And how will Justin Steele bounce back from his injury? And then outside of that, it's Jameson Taillon. So I don't want to add another question mark to the rotation. I want to add an exciting guy who is going to come in and is going to dominate, and you have that track record as of the last 1 or 2 years.
And fun fact, guess who gave up the same amount of home runs as Shota Imanaga? That would be Zach Gallen. That would be Zach Gallen. Ty, your thoughts on Gallen?
Kyle answered it for me. It's pretty much another question mark, so I'll leave it at that.
All right. Kyle, your number 2.
My number dose, another trade. How about Nick Pivetta?
Oh, even though they just signed him in San Diego?
So I did a little Googling.
He did a little chat GPT.
Oh, so much to say there. But anyway, Nick Pivetta, the reports are that a lot of insiders with the Padres believe that because they re-signed Michael King, that it is inevitable that Nick Pivetta is probably on his way out. So I love it. If you don't know about his contract, he's got 3 years left, but after this upcoming year in 2026, there's a player opt-out. So in 2026, he's going to get paid $20 million, but then those next 2 years, he's going to get paid less. So you basically are looking at a 1-year deal. It's going to be unlikely that Nick Pivetta is not going to take his player opt-out after 2026. So once again, when you think about Jed, you think about what the deals they'd like to do. You look at it and you say, it's just 1 year of control. It's really not 3 years of control. If the Padres try to tell the Cubs it's 3 years of control, then they will say no, because Nick Pivetta is going to dominate at Wrigley Field, and then he's going to want to opt out. He's going to want to get more money. So no, it's really just 1 year of control. At $20 million, not a lot. And again, I think because of the Padres situation, which it's always weird, right? Like the Padres are always like trying to get rid of players, but then somehow end up being in the playoffs. I do think that they would be willing to get rid of Nick Pivetta without having to include Jackson Wiggins in that deal.
Oof. I just looking at his baseball reference, I will say 25 was his career year, so it would be the Padres selling high. I would like to see him maybe repeat that because outside of last year, he hasn't had an ERA south of 4 in his career
And
until last year.
he was in the AL East. Keep that in mind.
Fair. That is fair.
So different.
But I look, he pitched against the Cubs in the playoffs, I believe, and he was awesome. So playoff experience guy with Boston, San Diego. Yeah, just it all comes down to cost. Contract makes sense. Prospect capital would be my only what's that going to cost?
There's something about a guy who throws that well at Wrigley Field, though. There's something about it, man. There's we talk about it all the time, guys. We talk about the stats and looking at the numbers versus the eye test. And I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but when you just have a guy that goes out there and competes and has it didn't seem like at all at Wrigley Field was at all it felt like he was affected by the environment. And there was something really special about it. Now, you talk about the financial impact, we're going to have a lot of money drop off the books. So that's not the part that I'm concerned about the most. I think the part I'm concerned about the most is that can he replicate the year? And if this is going to raise our floor a little bit and make us a better rotation, I think we still find our way into the playoffs. And then having a guy like him in the playoffs would be just so impactful for the top end of that rotation. So, Kyle, I love this. I love the fact that you're finding these unique moves because I've talked about Jose Ramirez and Drew Rasmussen. So this
also
is
also unique. Credit to you.
This is a fantastic wish list, and I hope Santa is listening right now.
Well, you're just talking about our two wish lists, right? Just our
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Oh, I forgot Alex is hosting the show.
My
his wish list of Nick Martinez
as it gets, so that's fine. Ty, you're number 2.
Oh, I'm going boring. I'm going to my. I want a my guys. I want Imai. The thing is that I'm going more realistic, but my number 1 will not be realistic. So my list is an absolute disaster. So I've gone absolutely unrealistic with Jose Ramirez to, okay, we're starting to look at Bregman and Tucker at 2 and 3. But Imai is obviously a realistic target for the Cubs right now. And I know the back and forth reports is that Cubs aren't willing to go short term. He wants longer term. Now the Yankees are willing to spend and all these different things. Look, the team's better with Imai. Let's be quite frankly honest. I know that there is the mystery of him coming from Japan. You watch this dude throw. He's got some pitches that this league has never seen before. I don't know if you guys saw that video of his split slider. I don't even know what the hell it's called.
The gyro slider.
It's unbelievable. So this is a arm that helps you for the future because now you get the opportunity to work with him for the future. Okay. So it's not just a play now type of move, which the Cubs have done. This is actually a move that I think can help them for the future. So Amai is at my number 2.
I have him at number 1.
Spoiler alert, me too. So we might as well talk about him now.
Yeah, 27 years old, unique pitch mix, as you mentioned. There are questions, but I do believe he is the highest ceiling of any available free agent pitcher. We have to think about 2032, right, Carter? We don't want to trade everybody in the farm system, right, Carter? You won't. Ty, you almost have me a crooked Carter. But no, this is straight money. You can mold him into whatever you want him to be. Yeah. He has the upside of an ace. Now there is a question mark, and he might be more mid back of the rotation type. That's according to more reports coming out. So there's some mixed reviews on him. And like I said earlier, I don't know what his market looks like. The Athletic had him up to $200 million plus posting fee. And lately it's been, he might get 5-6 years for 150, which is very similar to what the Cubs did with Yu Darvish. Yu Darvish, I believe, is 6 years at 120. Would the Cubs stomach that? I don't know, unfortunately. But I think overall, between age, his mix, and if Zombro gives the green light on this too, hey, I can work with this guy and we can make him into something special, absolutely. Go get your man, especially if he doesn't cost $200 million. That's a bit much for a question mark for me. But at 120 to 150, yeah, you kind of need a guy like this. Now, there are question marks, I get it, but he gives you the highest ceiling in your rotation, because then you could potentially be looking at a rotation next year of Imai at 28, Cade Horton, who's in his early 20s, and Jackson Wiggins in his early 20s, assuming Wiggins pans out. But that's a hell of a three-headed monster. That's all in their 20s. That's pretty tantalizing.
I don't know if you were to put him on the Yamamoto scale of like where he's at. He's not 10 out of 10 like Yamamoto. If he's even like 7 or 8 out of 10 as good as Yamamoto. 12-year, $325 million plus the $50 million, I think it was $50 million posting fee for Yamamoto. And outside of that shoulder injury first year, he's been worth every bit of it. So now you're telling me we can get a guy for half the years and half the money, similar AAV. Yeah, I mean, like this, I talked about this on the episode, right? Like the Cubs at some point are going to have to just pull the wedgie out of their butts, and they're going to have to make some sort of risk. Like they got it. Sorry, I'm not even trying to be funny. Like that's actually like what has to happen. And this is not trying to be serious either. But now I'm just trying to confuse you guys. No, but I mean, this is something that they have to do. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. This has been the least, at least rumored, right? Usually when Yamamoto came out, it was like, what team isn't interested? Or Sasaki, it was Sasaki. What team isn't interested in Sasaki? And that was mainly because of money, because he was posting before age 25. But it was also similar to Yamamoto. There were so many teams that were in on Yamamoto. Outside of the Cubs and Yankees, who else is in on Imai? And I just think that's a really unique opportunity for them to capitalize on, and they got to do it.
I've heard loosely Giants, Mets, Phillies. But again, that's loose, and that might be Boris just trying to drum up interest.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yep.
So that's both Kyle and I's number one.
Yeah, drum roll. Who's Ty's number one?
I will just quick say my number two is Bregman, who we already talked about.
Oh, sorry, I forgot about your list.
It's fine. It's boring. No one cares. Actually, you said your number one was Imai. So yeah, Ty, you're number one.
Tarek Skubal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Yeah.
I look, and that's the show. We talked about a lot of guys. Obviously, it's joking. I wrote it here, and I wrote his name. I crossed it out. I'm gonna write it again. Cross it out. Okay. It's fun to think about. It's fun to consider. I mean, it would be. I mean, whatever team gets him would probably be the most electrifying trade that we've seen in baseball for a long time. I mean, what other names would you say have been a bigger trade than him?
I think Garrett Crochet might be the comparable. I
mean, but if we're looking at number one in the game, I mean, we're gonna have to see about that with Paul Skeens in a few years. But yeah, that's the name I wrote down. We've talked about so many names, guys. I mean, there's a bunch of targets. I think we can all agree that if I were to have a realistic number one, it would have been Imai for me as well. But yeah, I wanted to have fun with that. So
yeah. Speaking of fun, before we get out of here, we got two things left to get to. So let's very quickly do a World Baseball Classic corner. There's a little news there. Bryce Harper is committed to playing for Team USA. So it looks like Team USA found their first baseman. A lot of lefties in that lineup, but overall, I mean, that team is stacked. It's going to be so much fun. I can't wait for March. So that concludes our World Baseball Classic corner. And finally, I've been doing this with everybody that has come on the show. We have not yet done it with the Podfather. You have to beat Ty's time of 3 minutes and 26 seconds.
Oh,
Setup Man survey. So let me get my timer out here. Okay, stopwatch is ready.
So Blake this is meant to be rapid fire.
Rapid fire. You can elaborate a little bit if you want, but I will say, Blake,
just don't elaborate much.
Well, Blake did it in a minute 38. So I'm just telling you. All right. And away we go. Who is your all-time favorite Cub?
Anthony Rizzo.
Good answer. Best/favorite Wrigleyville bar?
Murphy's.
Bleachers or grandstands?
Bleachers.
Left or right field?
Left.
Most underappreciated Cub of all time, in your opinion?
Ooh.
I will tell you, Blake said Ian Happ. Ty, I don't remember your answer. I'm sorry.
I said Ben Zobrist.
Oh, you did. That's right.
Man.
You're crushing this, by the way. You have time.
Tick, 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 tick.
Andy Martinez caught Kerry Wood's 20K game.
I would not have known that. If you were a closer, what is your walkout song?
Oh gosh. Pass.
Oh, come on. That's not he's out. He's out of this.
No,
This is why it took me 3 minutes and 28 seconds.
apparently in high school I looked like, if you ever watched the cartoon, this is too young for you guys, Doug. So I'll just go with Doug as the walk-up song.
I'll have
Yeah, you're still disqualified. Go ahead.
First Cub jersey you ever owned?
Mark Pryor, cursed him.
Favorite Cubs moment outside of 16?
My first game at Wrigley, it was a 2-1 comeback. Zambrano versus Bartolo Colon, Cubs, White Sox. Corey Patterson had the go-ahead RBI single after Ramon Martinez bloop triple, and Joe Borowski got the save.
Yes. Favorite non-Wrigley Field ballpark?
LA.
Definitely Oracle.
Oh, okay. Two NL West, 2 Oracle and one Oracle and 1 Coors. Who do you hate more, Cardinals or Brewers?
Brewers, not even close.
Time 2:05.
Well, yeah, but you talked a lot. I didn't talk a lot.
Okay, so deduct 20 seconds.
I did want to. Yeah, I was like, I'm not letting him like win this because he said Doug is his walk-up song. But
That's
yeah, I would say
What is that?
yeah. No, the
Bad
underrated
answer.
The underrated Cub one, that was like, oh my gosh, like it was like, I don't want to sound like an idiot, but I also don't want to like say somebody I don't know. And then you brought up a guy that was fantastic. One of the best.
Did I
one
get
of the best
that right?
stories.
Was it Sandy? I want to make sure I'm correct. Sandy Martinez.
Well, the story is that that Kerry Wood did not have his starting pitcher that game. So was it Sandy Martinez?
Yeah, it was Sandy Martinez. I just want to make sure I got that name right.
I thought you said Andy Martinez, like the reporter.
3 bags.
Said Andy Green. Andy Green.
Ah. All right. That is going to do it for our Christmas edition of the Setup Man podcast. On your way out the door, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button for us. Comment below if you have any answers to the Setup Man survey. If you have a better answer for what would be your closer walkout song, that would be great. Love to hear them. I don't even remember what yours was, Ty. But anyway.
Money for Nothing by Dire Straits. Absolutely electric.
I still don't know that song either, but I'm not
Okay,
good.
I'm going to send it to you, and you might as well run through a brick wall afterwards. But go ahead.
All right. Like and subscribe. Audio only. Do us a favor. Hit that subscribe, follow, whatever button it is. Leave a 5-star review. Next week, similar schedule with the holidays. We'll be back Tuesday of next week or Monday. We'll see. It depends on how hungover we all are from the weekend, Christmas weekend. But from our hearts to yours, Merry Christmas. Thank you for the support. And we hope you have a fantastic Christmas. If you're traveling, make sure you do it safely. And we will talk to you next week. Enjoy your Christmas. And
in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.